Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Bibia? Welcome back. Making sure his coffee and a full charge phone to chat with y'all. Thank you. Welcome back, guys. Dr. Jaws here, and tonight we are covering the Iceland Catshark, Apristurus laurussonnii. This is going to be really cool because this is probably one of the more famous of the demon cat shark species. So the Apristurus genus are deepwater cat sharks. Sometimes they're called ghost cat sharks. I really like the name demon cat shark. I just think that sounds really cool. Before we get started, just want to shout out Howard Kerr, our dear friend, who made this really cool artwork. Hey Howard, welcome back. Just talking about you and your awesome art. Thank you so much for submitting this, and I'm trying to find the right way to display it. This new Ecamm update is like really frustrating. Let's see what we could do here. But this is really great because it has both the sawback angel shark and the small spotted cat shark. So Squatina aculeata and Scaleorhinus canicula. So both look really great as far as like accuracy. So thank you so much, Howard, for submitting these pieces. Especially love the sawback angel shark, just like the way you capture the proportions of the fins. I feel like angel sharks are really hard to like really do a good job as far as like getting the right head shape in proportion to the pectoral fins, the pelvic fins, and then the dorsal fins and caudal fin far back of the body. But you really nailed it with this species, so well done. I mean, it just, and even like I love the little details of. Let me see if we can zoom in here. I love the little details of getting just like the right pattern for the species. Just like the focus on the little, what do you call that? Is it? Do you call it It's not ocelots. There's a name that sounds like ice. It sounds like eye spots or rosettes. There we go, rosettes. So I really appreciate like the focus on the detail, getting like the little rosettes on the color pattern on the back for the angel shark. You really capture the angel shark's face really well, especially with the cool nasal barbels that we theorized on that stream were maybe evolved to attract fishes to the mouth because they resemble like algae or seaweed. So overall, like the shape on this piece is so great, so well done, fantastic. Also love the small spotted cat shark, Scaleorhinus canicula. Great attention to detail with this species head shape, where it's you got like the bony crest, kind of like the ridges that are characteristic to cat shark's eyes. Also, we're able to capture the shape of the pectoral fins really well, and the pattern on the body really well as well. So great job on both species, and it's really great to see kind of this art having two shark. Actually, this might be the first piece, or one of the first pieces, or one of the few pieces that has two sharks in one. So two shark species that we've covered on the streams here. In one piece of art. So overall, really cool. Thank you so much, Howard, for submitting this because it just looks fantastic. So thank you. It really is a great job on some of the more recent streams that we did and the species that we covered. So thank you so much for sharing your art. Glad to have you back. Glad to have it back. And just like it just looks really great. So there's a couple of cool clips to look at. One regarding demon cat shark specifically, and then one kind of more so in regards to another deepwater cat shark that it really kind of caught my eye because it's not a group that we actually see that often. Is the false cat sharks. So I think let's start with the demon cat shark. So these are this is a clip of deep sea cat sharks, which is claimed to be the largest family of living sharks. But here we go. So this is a kind of Apristurus, so a cousin to tonight's species, the Iceland Catshark. So it's a great kind of shot of like how these animals move, and then like how they. It's actually really cool to see them in motion. This is slow down at half speed, so I'll probably replay it at full speed in a little bit, but just want to kind of get a nice shot of like the movements of these animals. So family Pentanchidae, which was recently separated from other cat sharks. So Pentanchidae is a comparatively recent family. it's really cool to see this kind of cat shark swimming mid-water column. A lot of the Apristurus cat sharks live in very, very deep water. So Twilight Zone, Midnight Zone. This is Apristurus brennius, the brown cat shark. So go just to zoom in here. So this is a good visualization of how the Iceland catshark probably moves, since it's a closely related species. This one's Apristurus campi, the long-nosed catshark. So demon catsharks have a kind of like a... Yes, Howard, definitely agree. Love the tail motion, very graceful. So demon catsharks have a very interesting profile. This one is quite different. This is Cephalourus, the lollipop catshark. So that's not the same group as demon catsharks, but... Oh, Bibia, catsharks apparently are called catsharks because of the eyes. I do not really see the resemblance. Cats have round pupils. So what's kind of interesting is, because cats' pupils like dilate and contract. So sometimes cats will have like the vertical eyes, like the vertical slit pupils, and then sometimes they'll have like the big round eyes. So I think like for the cat sharks, for the ones that have like the strange like kind of vertical pupils or kind of like the strange like narrow eyes, I think that might be where the name comes from. So, but it's really cool to see the world of demon cat sharks where, and this is actually a cool shot of egg cases of being laid somewhere in the deep sea floor. This looks like some kind of like ledge, or it's kind of weird. Like the reason I'm hesitating is like that projection that the eggs were on. Let me go back to that. It's kind of strange to see. Like I don't know what natural feature this would be, but it's really cool to see this world where you see, the egg cases, a lot of these starfish in these deep water. There's another cluster of egg cases right here on the left. And I want to say these are sun stars, some sea urchins, so a lot of echinoderms down here. More starfish. Looks like a lot of sponges. An anemone or two. A lot of marine snow, you can kind of see. This is a nice large male demon cat shark of some kind. But what's kind of cool is like you could see that it has this like one like just cylindrical profile in the water column. The head kind of flattens out into like a more elongated, like kind of sloping, like shovel shape, if you will, a little bit. So very different head profile than like the other cat sharks, like the Scalerinus cat sharks, because they tend to have like more rounded snouts, a little bit shorter snouts. Demon cat sharks have a little bit more of an elongated face, or elongated head, I should say. Usually just a uniform color of black or brown. And we'll rewind just to kind of get a better view of these animals. Pretty large gills comparative to the body size. Rather large eyes as well. The spiracle is really close to the eyes, you can see right here. It's really cool that it has that kind of like, serpentine movement. So it's not really like one of those robust sharks that uses its caudal fin to propel itself through the water, like tuna or like mackerel sharks. A lot of the power is coming from the tail, and they hold the body stiff. The smaller, more elongate sharks, they move the entire body to generate the thrust that they need. So, cuttlefish eyes, Bibia 666. Cuttlefish eyes seem more properly for a name. So that would be really funny if there was a group of sharks called the cuttlefish sharks. That would actually be really cool if there was, because there are some color changing sharks. So we've seen like lantern sharks, changing color. We've talked about smooth hounds changing color. So it would be kind of cool if there was a group of sharks that change color rapidly, and we could name them the cuttlefish sharks. But yeah, it's interesting to see how this animal is like swimming in the mid-water column. So the other cat sharks we've been seeing have been near the bottom, but it's kind of cool to see a demon cat shark just kind of gliding through the water, not seemingly near the bottom at all. So yeah, Thank you, baby. I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and make this full speed so we can kind of see. I just wanted to slow it down just to show the movement. But at full speed, you can still see it's a fairly slow swimmer. Very beautiful billowing fins, so kind of like what Howard was saying, just very graceful movements overall. It's interesting to see there's a little bit of iridescence near the gills, and I find that kind of fascinating. The rest of the body is brown, but the gills kind of have almost like an olive sheen on it. Beautiful fins. It's kind of fascinating to see how the fins are so close together, like the anal fin, the caudal fin, the second dorsal fin. They're all very, very close together, and yet still all concentrated very far back on the body. Whereas the upper, the foremost 2/3 of the shark are just kind of like the trunk of the body and the pectoral fins and the head. So, but it's a really great clip of a lot of really cool footage of a variety of deep water catshark species. So it's cool to see them in their natural habitat. So very little light. So this chart is showing 30 meters to, what was that? 30 meters to 2,200 meters. So that is, fairly shallow water to deep in the midnight zone. So pretty amazing range. The deepest shark is about 4,000 meters down. Or like, I think it was like 3,700 to 4,000 meters, and I forget which species this is. I want to say it's like the black dogfish or the Portuguese dogfish is the deepest shark that at least I've heard of, but a very cool group of animals. The demon cat sharks are just like very haunting in their appearance. Like small, cute, harmless, but they do have like this really eerie look to them that I think is really cool. Alright, so this is not a demon cat shark in this next clip, but it is pretty interesting to see. This is a false cat shark. So, and I don't think we've ever seen this clip before, so I did want to like take a look at it just for comparison. So this is a whole other group of sharks, and they're actually in their own family, and I want to say it's Pseudotriachidae. But what's interesting that distinguishes this group of sharks from other sharks is that dorsal fin, that first dorsal fin. We'll rewind one more time. It's actually such a really cool clip because we don't really get to see this kind of shark often. So you see, big head, typical of a lot of like the smoothhounds or cat sharks. Pretty normal pectoral fins, but the dorsal fin is this very long, weird, round, elongated shape. It's very unusual. And even the second dorsal fin is just like this giant, like triangle, like giant pyramidal shape. So one more time, because it is a very unusual looking group of sharks, and I don't think we've ever covered a Pseudotriachidae. Like or Pseudotriachid. I don't think we've ever done a false cat shark before. So this might be a cool species to do for next week. It's pretty interesting to see that body shape, very unique as far as sharks go. I can't think of another shark that has a fin quite like that. So pretty cool thing. Just want to take a look at. Is it a boat? Cool. Yeah. And then Bibia, 2,200 meters deep, is deep, cold, and dark down there. The top of the back of the false cat looks different. Yep, agreed. And then Howard, the boat comment, I think that might have been related to the structure I was talking about. Because that's what I was thinking, almost. It's weird seeing like this right here, this kind of shape in this other clip. It's almost like a stalactite, so I want to say that's almost like maybe a piece of wood from something, but I could be wrong. So, but let's learn more about the. Oh, awesome, yeah. That's what I think too. I think this. I want to say it's a wreck, really, like some kind of wreck, like a shipwreck or like a. It could be like a metal bar that's been colonized by all these different organisms. It could be a piece of wood, but I can't 100% tell from that angle. But But yeah, I think it's very possible it could be. So. So let's learn more about the Iceland catshark, Apristurus laurussonnii. And I'm really excited because this one, I'm pretty sure these can be found in, like technically in the Mid-Atlantic region. Um, so we'll take a look at the ICM Red List. Oh, Bibia, yes, absolutely. I just saw your comment. Yes, they sometimes sink boats on purpose to create artificial reefs. Yes, the nice thing is there's actually quite a few examples of that, at least in like the east coast of the United States. They do sink a lot of boats that are no longer in use, to create like great habitat for. It's really more like fishing reefs. They also deliberately submerge. Like I know in the Bay Area, they have these like concrete conical blocks, like these. It's hard to describe. It's like these concrete giant. They almost look like playground equipment, like playground blocks, like weird, like little like. You see in like playgrounds like weird little structures with like like holes and things that kids can like crawl through and stuff. It kind of looks like that. They will sink those and attach like baby oysters to those to hopefully generate an oyster reef. So that's something they do here. And they definitely do the shipwrecks on purpose. So if a ship is no longer serviceable, they will tow it to a deliberate location for the sake of like hopefully creating artificial reef. And I think there's been a few times where maybe originally that wasn't really the purpose. They were finding places to just sink unusable ships, but eventually it kind of became a thing, and it's been a really helpful thing because fish love structure. Like if there's structure in the water, it attracts a lot of different biofouling organisms that in turn attract a lot of fish. So anything that's like structural, especially in an environment like the Mid-Atlantic coast of the United States, is very like sandy and flat. There's not a lot of like areas that create reefs. Like when you get up to like Long Island Sound, it's a little different because it gets rockier and there's more structure there. But like when you're like south of New York City, so New York City to like Florida, it's just very sandy. So there's not really a lot of structure, like areas for structure. So these are great habitats to put shipwrecks in, to sink ships deliberately to create artificial reefs. So, and there's quite a few of them. There's actually in the Potomac River a very famous submarine. Now this was not to create a reef. This was just to get rid of it. But it was like the Panther, I want to say, and it's actually a dive site in the Potomac River. It's a very difficult dive site that I'm not really interested in doing because it's like the visibility is terrible. But there's a lot of shipwrecks here. So sorry, I'm just typing in Apristurus laurussonnii to get the Iceland Catshark range. Oh, cool. Vivian, usually not too deep sinking the boats on purpose. It's for divers to have something to do, but it helps marine life, so I'm in for it. Yes, same here. Because it really, as long as the ship doesn't have like toxic material on it, it does create a lot of habitat. Because when you think about it, a sandy seabed can support, like X amount of invertebrates, X amount of food, X amount of areas for clams to bury and everything. But if you have a shipwreck, it's kind of like, you think about it like kind of like a rainforest where like a tree creates a lot of layers, like a lot of structural layers that expands the surface area of that square meter or that square foot. Like the square footage that a tree encompasses, it builds vertically and it creates a lot of opportunities for habitat vertically. And similarly, a shipwreck does that as well. So in a sandy environment, if there's a shipwreck there, it creates a lot more surface area and actually like offers a lot more opportunities for things like barnacles or sponges or anemones or like shrimp or worms or like a lot of like invertebrates to kind of colonize and populate it. And then that in turn becomes really attractive to fish who like to eat those things. So yeah, I definitely agree. Like it's shipwrecks are a good thing for the ocean environment. So Iceland catshark, Apristurus laurussonnii. This is one of the more famous demon catsharks. It's great to see that it is least concerned. So it actually seems to be doing well, and I wanted to jump on an IUCN red list because I wanted to see its range, because I thought you could see this species in the U.S. and it looks like you can't on this map. Fishbase says you can, because when I look on the Fishbase map, it says it lives here, and I could have sworn the Iceland cat. Yeah, there it is. So you can see on the Fishbase map that apparently the Iceland Catshark lives on both sides of the Atlantic. On the IUCN Red List map, it does not. It's saying it lives only in Icelandic waters, off the coast of Ireland, and then off the coast of Iberia and northwest Africa. So I would trust IUCN Red List more than Fishbase as far as the maps go, but kind of interesting. We'll put a pin in that because I thought I could have sworn that you could find Iceland catsharks in North America, but it's really cool to see the range where none of it is coastal. It's only deep water environments. You can kind of see it like how the map is mapped, where you have Iceland right here, but then you have this like circle of like bare patch of you. Bibia, Wiki says it goes to USA East Coast too. Interesting. So, I wonder when we get into the research if that we'll find an article that kind of corroborates that, like maybe like a peer reviewed, and because the IUCN Rails is usually really good, so I would trust this, but I could have sworn there's someone said that Iceland catsharks could be found here. So we'll take a look at that in a little bit. But it's great to see the population is stable. It's awesome to see a shark that is doing well. Family is Pentanchidae, so this is its own family, different from Scalaridae. It's like the classic cat shark family, so Pentanchidae is its own brand new family. Let's check out why it's least concern. The Iceland catshark is a small, deep-water catshark with a widespread distribution in the northeast and eastern central Atlantic from Iceland down to Gabon. A single record from the Canadian Davis Strait in the northwest Atlantic was likely a vagrant, and nominal records from elsewhere in the western Atlantic are possibly an undescribed species. Okay, so this is interesting. So the catsharks maybe that we've been seeing that we thought were Iceland catsharks might be actually a different species. So that's actually really interesting. This poorly known species is found on continental slopes at depths of 560 to 2060 meters. Little information is available on interactions of fisheries, although it is a common bycatch of deepwater demersal trawl fisheries on the outer continental shelf. However, a significant part of the species' depth range is not currently subject to fishing activities. Although population trend is unknown for the Iceland catshark, it is suspected to be stable based on the levels of fishing effort within its range. Therefore, there is nothing to infer or suspect population reduction at this time, and the species is assessed as least concern. So, great to see a shark that is least concern. We love to see it because it's not often. Although, I mean, there is... I guess the way to do it is like it's thirds. Like a third of all sharks, roughly, are endangered in some way. A third of them are vulnerable or not doing great, and a third of them are perfectly fine. So, or maybe not perfectly fine, but least concern. So I probably shouldn't say that it's not often that we see this, because a third of sharks, currently have this status. So, going to Fishbase, I want to see if there's any new information. So the name Apristurus is from Latin. It means without pristus, or meaning without saw. So this is actually really interesting. It's referring to the absence of a sawtooth crest of enlarged dermal denticles along the upper edge of the caudal fin, as found in the closely related Apristurus or Galeus. So this is actually really interesting. We've talked about sawtail cat sharks lately. I would say in the past month we've covered a sawtail cat shark, a few sawtail cat sharks. It's kind of interesting to say that the genus of Apristurus is riffing off of that, is saying this is a cat shark without a sawtail. So I didn't realize that that's where the name came from, so that's pretty interesting. The species name laurussonnii is in honor of Simonson. So Simonson was the author. Simonson's friend, Gisli Laurusson, goldsmith, watchmaker, farmer, and nature enthusiast, for his long and invaluable support of the study of Icelandic fishes, and for carefully encouraging the skilled fishermen of Vestmannaeyjar Island Oh, okay. So I guess what was that? So really cool. So laurussonnii comes from a person's name. The depth range is similar: 560, which is Twilight Zone, to 1550, which is Midnight Zone. This is saying Western Atlantic, Massachusetts, and Delaware, USA and Northern Gulf of Mexico, Eastern Atlantic, Iceland, Southwestern Ireland, Canary Islands, and Madeira. Fairly common on the upper continental slopes, usually over mud or other soft sea bottom. Egg laying. Okay. And then here, this is really cool. This is the original illustration. So this is from 1922. Wild to say this is 100 years old. It's amazing to think about, but this is the Iceland Catshark's first description from 100 years ago. That's actually shocking to think about. Like the 20s. We have like film and stuff from the 20s that you can easily see somewhere. Like YouTube has like a bunch of 20s films. It's kind of wild to think about like those films are 100 years old now. That's wow. Excuse me. So, but really cool original description. Looks really accurate. Bibia, apparently the shark got its name in honor of someone who liked Iceland but was a watchmaker. Larson was a friend of the discoverer of the Iceland Catshark. Okay, very cool. Language equals hard. I confirm it. Thank you. Yeah. Because Iceland and Scandinavian languages, they're very tricky for me. I don't understand the pronunciation of the different like fjord, for example, it's spelled in a way where I would pronounce it at first like fjord, anyway. So yeah, beautiful illustration. Interesting observation is that the gill slits, at least in this illustration, are quite a bit smaller. Because we saw in the video the other demon catsharks have pretty large gill slits, but this illustration is showing smaller ones. The dorsal fins actually do seem a little bit more well spaced apart from each other. So yeah, this also is really zoomed in. So let me go back out. This is kind of a funny illustration from FAO. So this is Food and Agriculture Association of the United Nations. So emphasizing that the two dorsal fins are very small, anal fins quite large. Pectoral fin is quite large as well, but the gill slits are also small. Interesting mix of English names. So we've got the Atlantic ghost cat shark, the flathead cat shark, the Iceland cat shark, the Madeira cat shark, or Madeira shark. No fisheries interest. About 68 centimeters, so kind of a relatively small shark. I'm very excited to see this, the teeth. So check it out. So it's like small shark teeth are actually really cool because even though the animal is smaller, the proportionally the kinds of dentition that they have is actually really gnarly looking and really awesome. So the Iceland catshark's no exception. Having 5 cusplets, or rather one main cusp and a pair of cusplets on each side, so really cool to see. Great view of this. Looks like the upper jaw. So teeth from the upper jaw, really awesome looking. The lower jaw teeth, definitely agree, Howard. These are beautiful. These are really freaky looking. Because the cusplets are all relatively similar in size, so it's actually really cool to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cusplets on some of these teeth being relatively the same size. So really cool dentition. Definitely agree, Howard. Very nice dentition. 100%. It's really awesome to see that on this website, the sharkreferences.com. They often have the teeth. The dentition of the shark, of most of the sharks that they cover. So, and it's such a treat to see it because we all or most of us on the stream, we love like fossil hunting and we go like collect fossil shark teeth. It's really cool to see modern shark teeth and just to see them illustrated so clearly. So, really, really beautiful dentition here. So, yeah, for the Iceland Catshark. So I think what we'll do is, this might be kind of more of a research heavy night, so we'll go ahead and dive in. I want to start with this, the Living Marine Resources, the Eastern Central Atlantic. So this is a really great guide, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. So this is actually a great broad overview of like the kinds of animals you see in this part of the world. So specifically, this is going to be covering the west coast of Africa. So we'll take a look. And it's not letting me search, so I think we'll just have to do this the old-fashioned way. And we'll kind of hop around, but this guide is really... Oh, nope, now it's letting me jump ahead, so perfect. Okay, Apristurus. Sorry, I had to think for a little bit. Bibia, so some catshark have flat teeth to bite on shells, but other examples like the Iceland catshark have sharp teeth to catch fish. And Howard, fossil catshark teeth are basically microfossils. Interesting, interesting. It's actually so that's actually really cool that fossil catshark teeth are basically microfossils. Definitely agree, because I don't think I've ever collected a catshark tooth because of the size. So I'm just there we go. Just skipping ahead to the Iceland catshark. Super cool. And then Bibia, some catshark have flat teeth to bite on shells, but other examples like the Iceland catshark have sharp teeth to catch fish. It's actually really cool that you say that, because you're right. And also, we saw in that clip of the other demon catsharks, they were swimming mid-water. So it makes you think, like, what kind of animals are in mid-water? You know, it's going to be swimming animals, floating animals, so that would be shrimp or fish. It wouldn't be, like, hard mollusks, right? So it's actually really cool to see that observation about the teeth lines up with the observation that we saw of the shark just swimming in mid-water column. So not near the bottom, but, like, swimming in an environment shared by other swimmers. So, you know, it hints that it's a fish eater, you know. So that's actually really cool to kind of see how that corroborates a little bit. So this is a cool description of the Iceland catshark. I actually really like this illustration. Captures why these sharks are named the demon catsharks. Just kind of like this eerie, reflective eye, kind of this shadowy figure with like the long, billowing tail. It's very cool. And I'll zoom out so we can see it while we're reading the descriptions. So, let's see. Occurs on upper and middle continental slopes on and near bottom, 560 to 2,060 meters. Biology poorly known, relatively common in the eastern central Atlantic area off the Canary Islands, Madeira, and Western Sahara, ranging northwards in the eastern North Atlantic to southwestern Ireland and Iceland. Elsewhere from the Western Atlantic, from the Atlantic and Gulf of Mexico coast of the United States to Honduras and Venezuela. Nominal records of the species exist from Indian Ocean seamounts south of Madagascar, west of Australia. Two other species are described from the area, Apristurus atlanticus from the Canary Islands and Apristurus madeirensis from Madeira, are junior synonyms of this wide-ranging species. Interesting. So, Howard, large buckets of sediment are collected in the field and sifted through, using a microscope to identify teeth. That's wild. Oh my gosh. Many of them has multiple cusps. Bibia, microfossils have so much to learn, or so much that we can learn from. Together with these new technologies, laser spectrography, we can study a lot. Yes, that's actually... I'm really excited as that field continues to develop. you can kind of pinpoint some climatic differences, and it's really cool to piece together just like you know prehistoric ecology. It's just really cool that the more that we learn and the more that we see from microfossils, the more we're able to see like that bigger picture. So it's kind of cool to see cousins of the Iceland catshark. We've got the Saldanha catshark right here. So pretty interesting looking. Has like a larger nose or a larger snout. It has actually, I'm just noticing right now, it actually has some, looks like some barbels too, so that looks a little bit different. We have Galeus atlanticus, so the Atlantic sawtail catshark. So it's kind of cool to see a sawtail catshark right here in juxtaposition with Apristurus. So Apristurus from Latin means without a saw. So it's actually kind of cool to see that, these two kinds of sharks are grouped closely together. Scalerinus stellaris, a nurse hound, really pretty illustration, even though it's in black and white, very cool. But we'll keep learning more about the Iceland catshark specifically. So let's try. I think what we'll do is I might hop around from article to article and see how many hits I get for the species Latin name Apristurus laurussonnii. So this is more of like a checklist, so we'll kind of keep going. This would be kind of interesting. Assemblages of deep sea fishes on the middle slope off northwest Africa, 26 degrees to 33 degrees north, eastern Atlantic. This is by J.G. Pajuelo, J. Sion, C-O-N, so apologies for mispronouncing, M. Biscoito, M. Freitas, and J.A. Gonzalez. So this is actually a really interesting article. So highlights, the deep sea benthic fish fauna off northwest Africa is dominated by fishes in the family Macroeuridae. So it's not a shark family, so let's look up Macroeuridae. Grenaders, so these are, I think these are grenaders, interesting group. Macroeuridae is a family of deep-sea fish, a diverse and ecologically important group, which are part of the order of cod-like fish, the gadiforms. Let's see. I want to say these are grenaders, but it's actually a really interesting group of animals. So these are, paint a picture kind of from that article. These are the dominant deep-water fish off of northwestern Africa. So these kinds of fish. Very elongated tails, large kind of bulbous eyes. The greatest diversity by latitude was observed in latitudes higher than 30 degrees north. The fish abundance showed a decreasing pattern with depth. So as you go deeper, you see less and less fish, which makes sense. Boundary observed at latitude 30 degrees north is linked to the upwelling event and slope topography. So as a recap, upwelling is a very important ocean phenomenon where if you have like a seamount or a continental slope or any kind of like feature that's kind of like a hill, like kind of like a vertical or kind of sloping area of seabed in the water, the ocean currents can run up against it, and when the water or the currents hit that slope, they can actually force water upward. And what happens in that kind of momentum is these areas can actually dredge up a lot of nutrients, bring up a lot of deep water nutrients to shallow water areas, and in so doing, it creates this chain reaction where phytoplankton really benefit from the nutrients that are being brought up, so they actually multiply even more than typical. And then on top of that, zooplankton eat the phytoplankton, fish eat the zooplankton, or other animals eat the zooplankton, and so on and so forth. And what you get is upwelling, or an upwelling ecosystem in which you have this interesting collision of water currents and physical features dredging up these sediments that create a chain reaction that make these areas very productive, create kind of these booms of life that you wouldn't get if like in a different kind of ecological mix. Like you wouldn't have this in a smooth gradient area with a like upwelling events. You can find them on the west coast of the United States a lot more than the east coast. Just because like the East Coast is a smooth, sandy gradient from like the coastal plain into the ocean, and then you have the drop off of the continental slope. So I guess you get upwellings in the drop off, but you don't really get them near the shore. Whereas in the west coast of the United States, the coastline is really rocky. The drop off is a lot steeper. There isn't really this long shoreline. It's kind of like a sea cliff, and then down into the water you go. And there's more upwelling events on the west coast than the east coast. So it's really interesting. It was just really cool to see that this article is talking about upwellings and how upwelling is looks like it's making an ecological boundary. So assemblages observed in each area are related with the type and substrate of the slope. So here we go. I'm going to catch up on the comments before I read the abstract. So. Oh, cool. Okay, so it's Howard. It's amazing we can X-ray the fossil hidden by matrix. That's really cool. It could be 3D modeled while it's still in the rock. That is literally Jurassic Park. That is so cool. Bibby, I came here via Fossil Channel. Maybe Chimerasuchus. He has good videos too. But YouTube recommended Dr. Jaws after watching his video and returned. Oh, thank you, Bibby. I really, really appreciate it. And yes, non-disruptive X-ray technology is great. Doesn't harm the specimen, yet we can learn so much from it. Howard, I've been collecting... I'm going to start this. This is so cool. I've been collecting shark fossils for 56 years, and I'm always keen to learn more. This is so, so cool. Oh my gosh. That is really, really cool, Howard. What are some... If you're asking, what are some of your... I know you love Hemipristus is your primary shark, like your shark of choice. Are they your favorite? What are some of your favorite fossils that you've ever found? Would it be Hemipristus, and are there any other species? And I'm going to type in one of mine. Jaws favorite fossils. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I found I've showed them before, but the ancient white shark teeth that I found, so Carcharodon plicatillus and Carcharodon histalis, those are probably my favorite. And it's kind of funny because it's kind of like a typical like, oh my gosh, it's the big tooth, and that's always the most fun. But I will say, like, yeah, I'm a sucker for seeing Carcharodon teeth. So I found one of them in the James River of Virginia, one of them in the York River of Virginia, and those are probably my favorite fossil finds so far, just because they're huge, they're really interesting looking, like they're super super cool. So yeah, those are my favorites. But if you, I would love to hear your favorites, some of your favorite finds, fossil wise. So. And you too, Bibia. Actually, Bibia, do you have shark fossil teeth? Kind of in the Netherlands. Are there areas to go? Because I'm curious about like the geology of that area. If there are areas to go shark tooth hunting, because I know nearby there's some really famous fossil sites for other animals, but I don't know for shark teeth if it's the same. Like if there's opportunities, that would be really cool if there are. Howard, I like trace fossils that tell a story. One of my favorites is a whale rib covered in megalodon bites. That is so cool. That is so, so cool. Where did you find that? I'm so curious where that is. That's so, so cool. Oh my gosh. I had a friend find mastodon something. He found like I think he found a mastodon tooth. And that was really cool because that is actually made out of ivory, so theoretically you could like sell that and everything. Actually, I won't disclose which aquarium, but there is an aquarium that Venice Beach, Florida, very very cool, very very famous fossil location. So super cool that you found that in that location specifically. That place is famous for megalodon teeth, so super cool. Um, there's an aquarium that baby, sorry, I haven't found fossils myself. Not been to sea for a while. I'm actually really curious. You know what? Let's look this up. I'm actually really curious about this. The Netherlands fossils. Ancient whales, terrestrial mammals, even Neanderthal remains. Wow. Okay. Netherlands. Okay, I gotta look up shark fossils. The Netherlands shark fossils. I'm very curious. I promise I will get to the story in a little bit. The Netherlands, particularly on its coastline areas like Cadzand and De Zandmotor, are known for producing fossil shark teeth. These teeth, ranging from Paleocene to Pleistocene eras, are often found in the Verdonken, Zwarte Polder, and other locations. Megalodon teeth and those of other shark species like Arcturus histalis. So that's actually Carcharodon histalis, the one I put in the chat, and Arcturus histalis, they're the same thing. They're sometimes given different names. And Stratiolamia macrota are among the fossils found. That is so cool. So there's opportunities. There's actually opportunities, Bibia. That's really cool. So if you're interested, fossil hunting is a lot of fun, and for shark teeth in particular, at least here you can find them right on the beach. You do not have to dig. They literally are on the beach like a shell. Like they just wash up. And it, like over here, I remember like some of the like Vim's Virginia Institute of Marine Science people. They were the first people. They were the people who took me out for my first shark tooth hunt, and it was kind of like the cool ritual where it was like the minute shark teeth are very hard to find, or they're very hard to see if you've never seen one before. They're very hard to see, but if you do see one, it kind of opens up this whole world. Like it's like your eyes become attuned to seeing that shape, where it's the right color, it's the right smoothness, it's like the right. It's like once you see one, you start to kind of like see others. So it's like kind of like a cool like introduction to like a secret world, if you will. I mean, I'm being over dramatic, but yeah, I hope you get a chance if you're ever interested in fossil hunting. It's a lot of fun. You never need to dig. They're always at least here they're always on the surface. I imagine that probably is the case for other parts of the world. Some places you dig for them. A lot of places you dive for them, but there's still a lot of places that they actually just wash up on the shore, just like a shell. So, that glint of enamel, yes, oh my gosh, it's so much fun. It's very relaxing too. I have a lot of fun fossil hunting because it's just something that like I can focus on and just kind of, it's just like a nice day outside. You hear the water lapping, and you're just kind of like walking through this beautiful beach, and you're seeing all these really cool shells, and it's just like you're looking for that one shape where it's like it's smooth. You have that really cool root and everything, and especially if it's a big one, it just looks so cool, and it's really fun. So, in New Zealand they come in concretions. Interesting. Bibi, I love the science which creates the best and true stories of fossils, make it possible. It's so cool. Speaking of stories, before I forget it, there was an aquarium that I used to work in that they would put local display items in it. So they would, put if it was like a local rock, they would prefer to use that, which is really good. It's very smart actually. Where you never know like what kind of critters might be on that, and it helps stimulate or simulate the natural environment in a small way. So There's an aquarium I used to work at that would be featuring local fish and incorporated local elements in the tank design. And one of those elements is like all the guests take it for granted. They never ever understand what they're looking at. It's in the back of the tank, and it's long and it's white, and it's a mastodon tusk. So the Bibia, sorry. LOL, I'm truly Dutch. Like 50 miles from me is a long distance. It is vacation distance. When I get the chance to go near there again, I'll be looking down for fossil. Yeah. It's so funny. Like I have a comment on that, and I really appreciate that a lot, actually. Um, but anyway, the it's really wild that everybody walks by the tank and does not understand that there's a giant tusk of ivory inside that tank that is legitimately worth like thousands of dollars. It's this really incredible piece, actually, and no one knows what it is, and so everybody, like, enjoys the fish and walks. But then I remember when I was like taking care of the animals one day, someone told me, like, yeah, see that over there, like that's actual ivory. That is an actual mastodon tusk, and it is worth something. And like, glad that people don't know that. But it's kind of interesting. I won't share which aquarium it is, and it actually could be a variety, because I know I speak about a few quite often, but I have worked at a few, so just, it will be a secret. But there is, somewhere in the world, there's an aquarium with an ivory tusk in it that's hiding in the back, and it's just like, I just think it's so cool that people just don't understand that that's in the tank, and it's just interesting. So. So your comment, Bibia, this is really funny, because for better or for worse, my counter comment is I'm truly American, where I like 50 miles. I think I literally drove that today, because we went out. My fiance and I went out for a hike. Went out for lunch, and like we kind of made like a triangle going to like a park. And then like to lunch, and then coming back, and it's just like it's just because of the nature where America is very unusual in the sense that we rely on our cars so much, and everything is just spread out so much. I mean, like just everything is spread out, like really spread out over very long distances, and like Europe is more concentrated, more energy efficient, really. It's much more pedestrian friendly, much more bike friendly. There are some parts of the United States that are trying to be more conscious in that way. That are, there's like bike trails and, pedestrian walkways and stuff. But it's really funny, your comment about like 50 miles is long. It's 50 miles is short to me, but it's because it's just because of that, like just the culture difference and just like the country difference, and it's interesting. I mean, we really shouldn't be as spread out as we are, honestly, as far as just like it's not energy efficient. But unfortunately, like cars are like a necessity, just in the United States, as far as just like how spread out everything is. I remember I moved my entire apartment from Florida back to Virginia, and it was like a marathon drive, but it was like, did it, so. So I don't know. It's like I feel like after that experience where it's like, because I drove up from Florida to Georgia, and I was trying to stay on the coastline, but there's a hurricane that was coming through, so I had to reroute through Tennessee, then to Virginia. Like after that experience, I just kind of feel like distances are like not that bad, but it's just me personally. So sorry, I just think it's funny. In a good way. Like I just think it's interesting. So. Howard, it's like a bunch of teeth in sandstone. Do you have open the concretion or x-ray, then you know what kind of tooth is in there? Howard, the director of paleontology came across this farmer who made a sledgehammer to drive in fence poles using a chunk of mammoth tusk for the mallet. Oh my gosh. That's really funny. And honestly, we should not be trading ivory. So, all power to that farmer. All power to the aquarium. I mean, ivory should not be traded. So there you go. That's really funny, Howard. Oh my gosh, that's wild. So, getting back to the deep sea fishes of the Northwest Africa. So let's see. The structure and composition of deep sea fish assemblages living on the middle slope of Northwest Africa were investigated. Data were collected by 6 commercial trawlers during experimental fishing at depths between 800 and 1515 meters, so deep twilight zone, midnight zone. A total of, wow, a total of 1,115,727 fish specimens. That's a lot. That's quite a lot. Belonging to 37 families and 96 species were collected with bottom trawls. I honestly, that is a staggering figure for a Oh, no. I'm sorry. Sorry, I misread that. So I was about to say it's a staggering figure for a scientific trawler, but I just realized data were collected by commercial trawlers. So these are commercial trawling operations. Gotcha. Okay. So 24 elasmobranchs, 5 chimeras, and 67 bony fish, Actinoptera G, were collected bottom trawls. The deep sea demersal fauna off Northwest Africa is dominated by fishes the family Macruridae, followed by the Moridae and Aplephocephalidae families. So let's check out Moridae. Moridae. It's a family of cod-like fishes known as codlings, hakelings, or moras. I'm not familiar with this group, so this looks like this is probably a group that is maybe exclusive to the east coast of, the Eastern Atlantic. I don't think we have them in the Western Atlantic. What was the last one? Alepocephalidae. Ooh. Who are these guys? Also known as naked heads or smooth heads, or deepwater fish that belong... Oh, slick heads. Also known as naked heads or smooth heads. So, this is also a fish I don't know. I don't think we have these on the Western Atlantic. So, pretty interesting to see. So these kinds of fish. These are what are the most populous fish species in Northwest African deep waters. So the main abundant species were, I won't go into these in details because there's quite a few, but Trachyrhynchus, Bathygatus, Mora. Well, okay, you know what? Sorry, let's just take a look. Let's just take a look at what these are. So. This one, I'll just really quickly go through these. None of these are sharks. These are all kinds of bony fish. Moro. Interesting. Okay. Bathygatus. I used to work. This was a long time ago, but I used to manage a fisheries collection, or I should like assist with the fisheries collection. I shouldn't say manage, but for VIMS, and that actually there was a lot of deep water animals. So I'm kind of curious to see if there's any familiar faces. So this is interesting. So grenade. Okay, this is a grenader. So rough snout grenader. So this is one of the most popular fishes in this region. We've got this guy, a blackfin rat tail. Interesting. I was familiar with that. Moro. The common mora. Interesting. You wonder how many of these might be. This is one of the naked heads or slick heads. You wonder how many of these might be like food fish for people. Um, Grenader. I just saw your comment, baby. A Grenader. Common Atlantic Grenader. So this one, I actually probably think we have on the Western Atlantic as well. So slightly creepy, but overall inoffensive fishes. Um, Bassozetus, I think, is the creepiest one. Let me see if I can find it. Bathygatus is also not that bad. Is it Bassozetus? Yeah. I always get this one confused. It's not this one. There is a Bassozetus is fine. There's a deep water lizard fish that is really creepy. Yeah, this is really okay. Bathysauridae. This was one of the few fishes that really creeped me out. Like deep water fishes that I would kind of work up. These are really freaking creepy. Yeah, these are really creepy. Oh man. Yeah. So one of the few animals that like actually creeps me out. This is actually this. I wonder if we can zoom in on this image. This is actually quite terrifying. This is just one of these lizard fishes chilling out on the seabed. That's what it looks like in its natural, normal state. It's like a deep water alligator. It's very creepy. So anyway, so we kind of have an idea of the assemblage for Northern Africa, Northwest Africa. Permanova analysis showed differences in demersal fish assemblages among bottom types, depth strata, and between areas north and south of parallel 30 degrees north. The area being the most influential factor, followed by the types of substrate. Permanovas computed separately for each area showed significant differences among the bottom types and depths in both areas. Simpler analysis revealed that B. melanobranchus and B. favosus, which occurred at higher abundances in areas greater than 30 degrees north, were species that were best discriminated between the areas. Let's see. I'm just going to kind of skim through the rest. The standard mean abundance showed a decreasing pattern with depth in both areas, north and south of the parallel, with depth of each type of substrate except on cold bottoms. The Iceland Catshark showed a deeper center of gravity at latitudes of greater than 30 degrees north, with differences in depth from 299 to 110 meters, compared to the areas of latitude less than 30 degrees north. Okay. I'm going to see if there's anything else on the Iceland Catshark specifically. Nothing is showing up. But it is kind of cool. I kind of skimmed through that, but it's kind of cool seeing, like, these are the animals that the Iceland Catshark coexists with. Like, these are the animals that share space with the Iceland Catshark. So, as far as, like, these are deep water fishes. So, just a little disturbing, yeah. Isn't it pronounced Grenadier? Oh! Grenadier. Is that correct? Tailless fish without a tail, yet they're not eels. Wow, but not to meet in person. Yeah, let me go ahead and Bathygatus melanobranchus. No, sorry, that's not it. Bathysauridae. Is it this one? Yeah. Creepy stuff. So or Bathysauridae. There we go. Okay, creepy. Grenadier. Oh, Grenadier. Oh, you might be right. Honestly, you probably are right. I think Grenadier makes more sense than Grenader, like grenade. Oh man, that sounds very stupidly American. So hold on. Grenadier. Grenadier makes more sense. So thank you, Howard. Actually, I think you're right. Grenadier. That actually makes more sense than Grenadier. Grenader. Okay, grenadier. Thank you. Yeah, that makes more sense. That's like, oh my gosh, really dumb story. It reminds me when I was little. There was a Pokemon I used to mispronounce all the time. So, but yeah, so those fossils, Stradiolam, are at least 10 million. That's plus minus 65 million years old. Very cool. Let's see. I'm going to skim through more. See if the Iceland Catshark shows up here. It looks like it should. There's one kind of demon catshark here. Apristurus epheoides. There it is, Iceland Catshark. I think this is in French, but still kind of a cool view to get another look at the species. There we go. So, photograph of living, or sorry, not living, but a photograph as opposed to illustration. So, photograph of a specimen. Again, it's interesting to see the two dorsal fins are very rounded, like kind of like, almost kind of like rounded corners of a square. Like they're kind of like squarish, but like with rounded corners. So it's kind of interesting to see that. Again, small gill slits, large reflective eyes. This coloration is definitely from bad preservation, so this is not the color in real life. So. Beautiful, beautiful photograph of Galeus melostomus. So it was a cat shark that we covered, I think, earlier this year. It's creepy. Galeus marinus. So interesting. So I think this is just like a collection of different sharks from a similar region, but it's kind of amazing to see this Pseudotriachus microdon. So this is a false cat shark right here. So it's kind of interesting to see another one of these again with the unique fin shape on the back here. Galeritis galeus, the taupe shark. Great to see that. Yes, Howard, definitely agree. And I feel bad. I didn't mean to say this looked creepy. It just like the bulging reflective eyes kind of caught me off guard. You might be right. Galeus marinus, this individual might be... Well, actually, no, check this out. This is a male. Let me zoom in. Well, actually, I can't tell. I cannot tell if that's a clasper or if that is the fin that is slightly damaged. That almost looks like a clasper, but which would make this male, but it actually could be maybe the pelvic fin curled up, in which this case this would be a female. So this could be a female shark who may be pregnant. It also potentially could be so swell sharks are a kind of cat shark, and it could be actually I'm curious if so swell sharks, which are a kind of cat shark, are able to swell their bodies in order to make themselves look bigger, and also to kind of like wedge themselves into rock crevices so that predators can't dislodge them. So kind of curious about if this is a cousin of a swell shark. That might be... Oh, Howard, so it is clasper, I think. Yeah, so I wonder if in that case this might be a cousin of a swell shark, where maybe the species has a similar ability of being able to swell up, kind of like a pufferfish, if you will. Or it could be the pelvic fin curled upward, and it looks like a clasper from this angle, but it could be a female who's indeed pregnant. So, beautiful small spotted cat shark here, Scalarinus canicula. So, really nice shot of that. Maybe a bad diet or too much beer. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Curious what other sharks are in this region. Musclus asterius, so starry smoothhound. Musclus, the classic smoothhound. Really cool, dominant first dorsal fin. Requiem tigre, the tiger shark, just an illustration here. Priansa glauca. This is funny. This is a mako shark in the photograph, but the caption is blue shark. This is truly a mako shark. It just looks blue. with its coloration, but it's just the big eyes, the big black eyes, the conical snout, the classic lamniform head shape, the powerful tail, the caudal keels. This is a mako shark. This is not a blue shark. So interesting. Okay. Fauna Francois, Francais. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce that. So interesting little summary of species that coexist with the Iceland catshark. Here's another cool guide. So I love these FAO guides. I'm actually gonna put the link of this in the chat in case anyone wants to check these out, because these are just so cool. So sharks, batoids, and chimeras of the North Atlantic. Beautiful illustration. I love these illustrations here. So let's see. This is a blue shark. So similar coloration as that mako shark, but you can see the blue shark has the beautiful long pectoral fins, longer snout, large eyes, but proportionally like not as large. The tail is also not as like lunate as the mako shark that we saw. So here's a beautiful blue shark right here. We've got a thresher shark in the background. Got a lovely cow-nose ray right here. A tiger shark kind of cruising in the middle distance. We've got a Greenland shark on the bottom here. A couple skates and a chimera down here. So beautiful illustration. Okay, we're gonna hop to Apristurus. There's actually quite a lot of demon cat sharks in the North Atlantic, so Apristurus. Okay. So this is kind of a cool note. So this is a section on Apristurus, which is the lantern sharks, but this is one of the most specious genera of sharks worldwide, with 37 nominal species currently recognized. The genus has several species complexes that will likely reveal additional species, making it, along with the Apristurus, among the most species-rich genera of sharks. So I just want to read that out loud because I think it's really cool that lantern sharks and demon cat sharks are the genuses or genera with the most species. I forget what was saying that in the beginning. If it was, it was that video was saying that Apristurus cat sharks, like demon cat sharks, are the most species genera of sharks. And I had to like take a minute to think about that. I was like, well, I mean, Carcharodontis has a lot of species. Squalus has a lot of species. Are Apristurus really that diverse? And it looks like they are. So Apristurus, the genus was named in 1913. Scalaritis with the Apristurus look, long, laterally expanded snout and head, enlarged nostrils with reduced anterior nasal flaps, very long labial furrows, small rear-sided spinal fins, very large elongated anal fin, separated from elongated caudal fin by a notch only in uniform coloration. I won't read all of this, but kind of curious about this. The color uniformly jet black, brownish black, brown, pinkish or whitish, no distinctive color patterns. Cat sharks and dog sharks are a big family apparently. Yes, that's true. Local names: demon cat sharks or ghost cat sharks. Let me know in the chat which you prefer. Do you prefer ghost cat sharks or demon cat sharks as a name? I kind of like demon cat sharks personally, because I think that just sounds so like forbidding and interesting. So this is one of the largest and perhaps least known of shark genera, having some 35 described species, with several additional species of uncertain validity or still remaining to be described. 6 species are known to occur in the North Atlantic, but it would not be surprising if several additional species, especially deep water forms, were eventually discovered. Recent eastern North Atlantic examples include discovery and description of Apristurus aphioides and Apristurus melanoaspera over the past decade and a half. Okay, so Apristurus laurussonnii, the Iceland catshark. Oh, awesome, Howard. Yeah, demon. Pectoral fins relatively large, broad, and subquadrangular. Interesting. Eye diameter more than 1/2 interorbital space. Spiral valve, turn count 16 to 20. This is really interesting. How maybe I appreciate the demon icon. This is interesting that apparently a way to tell this species apart is by the spiral valve, and we've talked about this before. Just as a quick recap, the spiral valve is a feature in a shark's. It's a digestive feature inside a shark that slows down how food is digested, so it maximizes the nutrient absorption. It's kind of like this really cool. It's kind of like a tube with a lot of. I don't want to say gills, but kind of like discs in it that maximize the surface area for food particles being digested. So a shark is an extremely energy efficient animal. All sharks have a spiral valve, and the spiral valve is a really cool feature where it literally is leaving nothing to waste. Like every bit of an animal that a shark eats is digested and absorbed into the body. And I think it's a really cool feature that people don't really talk about as much because, people talk about sharks being the perfect predators as far as like, honing in on things, like hunting things, having the jaws to like, munch on things and like capture their prey effectively. But I think the spiral valve is a really cool feature that goes deeper where it's like, yeah, these are the perfect hunters because they maximize what they get. They make the most out of their meals. It's like leave nothing to waste, and it's so cool. So it's another layer of being perfectly adapted to your environment. So with that, it is interesting that this is a way to tell this species apart from other demon cat sharks, because that's helpful in a lab, but that is not helpful in the field. Fortunately, again, the Iceland Catshark is doing okay. It's not in trouble because its range is or its habitat is outside of a lot of fisheries range, so that's good. But it is interesting that is one way you could tell the species apart from other demon cat sharks. Speaking of which, let's take a look at them. So we've got the Iceland Catshark up here, Apristurus melanoaspera, Apristurus aphioides, Apristurus microps, which looks kind of chonky, Apristurus manus, and then this one's actually really famous, Apristurus profundorum. This might be the most famous of the demon cat sharks. I know the Iceland cat shark is up there as well, as far as like having a lot of research. So let's go ahead and keep learning more about this group. So I already went here. We'll go through the species keys, and actually I should just type in Apristurus laurussonnii. There it is. Okay, here we go. Apristurus laurussonnii in 1922. Bibia, great question. So they're probably not. I think they're scaled to be the same size to help tell the species apart, but they're not drawn to scale relative to each other. So I think their body sizes would probably be a bit different. But that's a great question, though. So here's the FAO illustration of the Iceland Catshark. It is interesting to see that the eyes are actually positioned more close to the top of the head. Again, the two dorsal fins are very strange looking, especially the first one. It's actually quite small, rounded off. The anal fin is quite large by comparison. Cool view of the underside of the head. Field marks. Head broad and rather flattened, snout relatively short, with broad nostrils, mouth long and broadly arched and extending to interior ends of eyes. Labial furrow is extremely long, upper is longer than lowers and reaching symphysis. Eyes small, diameter more than 1/2 interorbital space. First dorsal fin slightly larger than second. Interdorsal space less than first dorsal fin base. Pectoral fins relatively large, broad, and subquadrangular. I like that word, subquadrangular. Coloration uniform dark above and below with lighter fin edges. We don't need to go with the diagnostic features, but this is actually an interesting map right here. Check this out. So this is the range map of the Iceland Catshark, and it's really interesting to cross-reference this with the IUCN Red List one, where IUCN is saying that this species can only be found in Iceland and the Eastern Atlantic. So going back to the FAO guide, there we go. This is corroborated, like Iceland, Eastern Atlantic, but this entire range right here, it looks like this might be a different species, where originally this was considered to be Apristurus laurussonnii, but there was that note from Fishbase that this actually could be a different kind of cat shark. So, pretty interesting. A little-known deep-water species, apparently fairly common on the upper continental slopes, on or near the bottom. Bottom temperatures where the shark has been captured range from 1.7 to 4.3 degrees Celsius. So imagine that. This shark is living in near freezing water. It's really, really cool to think about. It's also really interesting to think about, again, deep water environments are relatively stable. They have a relatively consistent temperature. So it's kind of cool that, and I say this because, like, for shallow water fish, in the wintertime, they sometimes retreat to deep water because the surfaces will actually literally freeze with ice, depending on where you are. So they actually find refuge in deeper water because it's actually more stable. And so it's actually really cool to see that for this cat shark, it's living near freezing water temperature, but it's actually rather consistent or stable across its range, and it works for it. So that's so cool. Perhaps they don't get caught on the East Coast, that the icing give a different habitat. I don't know. So there's been a couple demon cat sharks caught on the East Coast of the U.S. that we have thought was the Iceland cat shark, and we assigned it to that species. But I think there's now debate on, wait a minute, is that an Iceland cat shark or is that its own kind of cat shark? Because these sharks have been caught only sparingly. So I'm not 100% sure. So it's interesting to see kind of like how, we know that the sharks in Iceland, the demon cat sharks in Iceland are definitely Iceland cat sharks, but we don't know about the western cat sharks here. It's pretty interesting to see. So, like, kind of the discussion. So, biology. Oviparous, meaning egg-laying, but nothing else known. Egg cases have been described for this Apristurus brunnius group cat shark. Egg case length about 25 centimeters. Surface covered with villi-like fibers forming fine longitudinal striations. So, kind of like, not stripes, but it's kind of interesting. Anterior end angled with long, weak fibrous threads on each corner. So usually egg cases with fibers, the fibers are meant to entangle things like seaweed or any kind of structure so that the eggs can be stuck there. The egg cases could be attached to each other. Posterior end with two horn-like processes and long coiled tendrils extending from each. Diet unknown, but likely consists of crustaceans, cephalopods, and other small benthic fishes. Maximum size is 72 centimeters. Smallest known specimen was about 25 centimeters. Deepwater Apristurus relatively common as bycatch in deep-sea bottom trawl fisheries, but like most other members of this genus, they are generally discarded at sea because they have no commercial value. All Apristurus species are under attack regulation in European Union waters. Prohibited species in NEA FC regulatory area. Local names include flathead cat shark, Madeira cat shark, Atlantic ghost cat shark, Gíslahafor in Iceland. Apologize for maybe butchering that. And I will not even attempt French or Spanish, but still really cool. So, want to make sure I didn't miss anything for the Iceland Catshark here. And I think we'll keep going. I'm just going to hop around. It's another kind of guide. This one is kind of wild. I think we have seen it before, but these are all a collection of dead specimens. So there's an angel shark here, a lantern shark, Portuguese dogfish here, cat shark here. I could tell that's a great white right there. Basket shark in the far right. That one, that might be a swell shark. This is a sleeper. This is a thresher. So yeah, let's see what the Iceland Catshark is doing up here. Apristurus, laurussonnii. Page or plate 1995. Let's see. Okay. Catsharks. There we go. Okay, so he's one of these. Let's see if we can guess which one it is. Wow, these are actually really tricky to tell apart. I want to say it's... I'm not going to guess. Okay, so he's the first one. So this is it. The Iceland Catshark is number 1, right? Yes. So okay. So this one is an Iceland Catshark on the top here. So this is another preserved specimen. Rounded dorsal fins again. This time the eyes actually look a little bit not at the top of the head. So that was kind of like throwing me off a little bit. So, oh, Bibia. But if we split up the species, telling whether one of them goes extinct, God forbid, becomes a bit more difficult. And are all cat sharks small, below 1 meter, 3.3 feet in length? Great question. I think so. Actually, I'm going to do a quick perusal through my handy little copy of Sharks of the World. I think all cat sharks are small. So we'll take a look at like the classic ones. I'm going to see if there's anything that jumps out at me as far as size go, but I'm pretty sure all cat sharks are pretty small. We've got the small spotted cat shark at 100 centimeters. The nurse hound is 162 centimeters, so that's a little bit bigger. Campeche cat shark is tiny, 16 centimeters. Wow. Wow, there's so many cat sharks actually. So far the biggest one is 162. I'm just quickly seeing if there's anything that can beat that. Balloon shark. Wow, balloon shark is 110 centimeters. I've never heard of a balloon shark. So. But I think, Bibia, you are correct that they all are small. And I feel like as far as the genus with the greatest size range, I want to say that's probably either Somniosus or Carcharinus. I think either one of those two is probably the greatest range in size, where Carcharinus can be like a little small shark like this, or the dusky shark at 14 feet. Somniosus could be kind of like a small little sleeper shark, or... actually, maybe not Somniosus, but Somniosidae could be a small little super shark, or a Greenland shark at like 20 feet. So I think you're right. I think they all are small. The largest one is the nurse hound, which is 162 centimeters. So, cat shark. Cool. So, not a lot of information, but really cool to see a collection of demon cat sharks here. So we'll keep moving on. I know it's 10:30, but I want to see if we can get one more Iceland cat shark. I like this error message with a sperm whale. That's actually really fun. That's the best kind of error message. I will take that. Error message of a bat. Actually, it's still pretty good. Okay. Sharks in Cabo Verde. Since it is 10:30, might be a great opportunity to pick a shark for next week. So please let me know in the comments if there's any particular shark you would like to cover. Nursehound sounds really cat-like. Latin names are hard, but common names are crazy. I agree. Ooh, this one is actually kind of interesting. Let's check this out. This is Challenges in Avoiding Deepwater Shark Bycatch in Azorean Hook and Line Fisheries by Lawrence Fossonet, Diana Catrino, Diadas, Eva Giacomello, Jose Manuel Gonzalez Irusta, Pedro Alfonso, Telmo Morato. Deepwater sharks are highly diverse, vulnerable, and understudied as a group, despite the increasing pressures on their populations. 25 species of deepwater sharks have been recorded in the Azores, an oceanic archipelago in the mid-North Atlantic that are regularly caught as bycatch and hook and line fisheries. Avoiding the bycatch of deepwater sharks presents multiple challenges due to their high catchability, difficulties in correctly identifying species, and the general lack of data on these species. This review summarizes the findings of recent studies from the region, providing an up-to-date science-based framework for mitigating bycatch effects of Azorean hook and line fisheries. Several depth-based, area-based, and gear-based measures have been studied that demonstrate the potential to either avoid or increase the survival of deepwater shark bycatch. However, these measures may have limited efficacy for some species, for example highly mobile species, and thus limited widespread applicability. Convincing fishers to avoid deepwater shark bycatch is also a challenge given the antagonistic interactions of sharks, damaging the catch and fishing gear, while simultaneously a market incentive for shark liver oil remains. It highlights the need to proactively engage fishers and incentivize mitigation of bycatch of deepwater sharks in Azorean waters. So, really cool study. I just saw your comment about the salmon shark. I think we have covered it, but Bibia, I think we can do a lambda form, so we'll get back to that in a second. Just want to check where this Iceland Catshark is mentioned here. All species of deepwater sharks occurring in the Azores are viviparous with yolk sac, a reproductive motive typical of K strategy species, except for the Iceland Catshark and mouse catshark that are oviparous. So it looks like Iceland Catshark is one of the only egg-laying sharks in the Azores. It's really cool. Really cool to see this. Wow, this is actually a really cool guy. Okay, let's check this out. And actually, before we check this out, let's pick a shark for next week. So Bibia suggested the salmon shark, which I know we covered, but let's take a look at our lamniform species of shark where females and males have different habitats. Ooh, that's a great question. Well, the first thing that came to mind is the pike dogfish, but we already covered that one because females and males will school differently. Another one that's interesting is the sicklefin lemon shark, which we also covered. Females and males will occupy different spaces. What we could do, and I actually be kind of curious about this, is the gray reef shark. Because sicklefin lemon sharks, males and females operate differently because of it's in relation to their reef habitat. I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't covered the gray reef shark yet, because that's a pretty famous species. So I'm going to just check really quick the Carcharoniform playlist. Because that would be wild if we haven't covered that yet. That species is pretty infamous. They can be they have been studied for exhibiting interesting social behavior. Where I would say the most famous thing I know about gray reef sharks is that they will angle their bodies and swim erratically if they are annoyed, and it's a direct warning sign to people or like to other sharks, predators, or scuba divers. You're annoying me. Get away from me. Stop it. Like, which is actually really cool. Like I love sharks like kind of being able to kind of communicate that, or like animals showing a behavior that you could read into. I really don't think we did it, so I think it would be a great pick for next week if we haven't covered it yet. I'm amazed we have not covered it. So yeah, let's do Bibia. I think your suggestion, females and males have different habitats. I think it brings to mind a reef dwelling shark, because a lot of the reef dwelling sharks, the males and females, will kind of literally swim in different circles. Like will migrate to different parts of the reef depending on their mating behavior or mating pattern. And that makes me think of the gray reef shark, and we haven't covered that yet, and that one's going to be really exciting. So I think that could be a great one for next week. So I'm going to put this in the chat. And that shark has an attitude. It's been infamous for kind of being... They're not that big, but they have been known to be dangerous because they can actually like really swarm people, or swarm a diver, or swarm like do feeding frenzy behavior. It's actually probably one of the more behaviorally well studied sharks, so I think that would be a really cool one to do. So gray reef shark, Carcharodontis ambly, Rhynchos, Rhynchos. Okay, so I'm going to throw that out there. Gray reef sounds good to Howard. Awesome, awesome. I think that'd be a really fun one to do. So let's take a look at this, by the way. This is really, really cool. And let me know, Bibia, if you like the gray reef shark as well, because I think it'd be a really fun species. Awesome, awesome. Perfect. All right, so gray reef shark will be next week. So I love stuff like this. I wasn't expecting this. Main preferred depths of occurrence of the deep water shark species, the Azores, with size of icons proportional to the maximum species total length, and color-coded according to the species' known abundance in the Azores. So green equals common, orange is infrequent, and red is rare. So it looks like the Iceland Catshark is kind of rare. But I am very curious to see what sharks live here. So let's take a look. Starting with, what's the most shallow? It's LIX1, who is Apristurus spinax. So it's a lantern shark. The velvet belly lantern shark. So there he is. His cute little face is up here. So these are very... when you are looking at deep water sharks in the Azores, this is one of the first... Oh, Carcharodontis ambly Rhynchos. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It is a ridiculous... Well, not ridiculous. It's a very wild name. A good old-fashioned Latin name. So... But here we go. So we got the first layer as you go into deep water in the Azores is the velvet belly lantern shark, Apristurus spinax. So really cool to see. Who's the next one? BRR. Who is that? I'm reading out the codes here and then finding out what they relate to. Centrophorus granulosus. This is a gulper shark. Really weird that it pulled up the same exact image. This is more accurate. This is what a gulper shark looks like right here. So these sharks are really cool. They're very, very rare. I've told Howard this story. I don't know if I've told you this story, Bibia. A colleague gifted a gulper shark jaw set to me, which is a really, really rare gift. And I think someone in my family... It's like I had it in a storage location that I think someone confused it with trash, unfortunately, and I think they may have thrown it out. It was really really sad. It's like probably the worst thing I've ever misplaced is the gulper shark jaw because it's just so rare. These are a deep water group of sharks that typically are not doing so well. They're really really cool. They're a distant cousin of dogfish. So Hep is probably a 7-gill. Heptranchius perlo, so 7-gill shark. Sharp nose 7 gills, so really cool image right here. Don't know if we can maybe cover all of these because I want to be mindful of time. We'll get through as many as we can. Oxy is probably Oxynodus paradoxus. So this is the yeah, this is actually starting to get kind of tricky because Google's pulling up some stupid stuff right now, but this is what should be pulling up. Rough sharks. So these really cool pyramidal sharks. So these are classic deep water animals. There we go. 7-gill shark, beautiful too. Yes, absolutely. Let me go to the images for this because these guys are just so cool. So in the Azores, this is kind of like, you know, your first dip into deep water are these kinds of sharks. What else we have? Something huge. GLD is probably a Greenland shark, right? Yep, Somniosus microcephalus, Greenland shark. So there we go. I'm actually kind of curious, kind of skipping ahead, who lives right with Apristurus, so our shark. So I'm kind of curious, there's 2 other sharks that live close to the Iceland Catshark. So one of them is FAB, which is Centroscalium fabricii, which I believe is a Portuguese dogfish, or the black dogfish. I get them confused sometimes. I think this is the black dogfish. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to type anything in the chat. There we go, the black dogfish. That's actually really cool. Image of that. Wow, look at that. So this is a shark that is found at the same depth as the Iceland catshark. So great image of an actual living animal in the wild. Squoo, who is Squoo? Squalus laticaudus. I'm not sure what that is. Or Squaliotus laticaudus. There we go. The spine pygmy shark. Okay, interesting. Very small shark. It's amazing that it could fit in the palm of your hand. So it looks like the dogfish and the cat sharks are kind of occupying a similar range. And again, here is the Iceland catshark. Just some images. This one is actually particularly interesting. This may not be a true Iceland catshark photo, but it is definitely an Apristurus. It's definitely a demon catshark of some kind here. So, and that actually might be an orange ruffy. Not 100% certain, but infamous deepwater fish. So, really cool to see this article. I will post this in the chat too, because I probably won't have time to like go through all of them. But you can see the Azores are really diverse as far as sharks go. And you can see that there's this interesting concentration of sharks around the beginning of the midnight zone, like as you go deeper and deeper. I will pull up this one last shark, which I think I know what this is. This is Centroschimus coelolepis. This is the Portuguese dogfish. And I believe this is at least the deepest shark that you can find in the Atlantic. It may be the deepest shark in the world. So, is this one. So, truly a kind of a deep water freaky animal. Giant eyes, completely brown. Interesting face right here. Portuguese dogfish do have snub-nosed faces. Cool little graph showing a deep water community. So I love the deep ocean. It's so eerie and like so creepy, but like, also very, very fascinating as well. Oh, this is a great photo of a Portuguese dogfish, actually, right here. That is really cool. Like, really nice quality image. So, one of the deepest sharks you can find in the world. And it's also really cool to see the body form of deep water sharks. They do tend to be more elongate, which I think is rather fascinating. Whether it's a dogfish or a cat shark, or a sleeper shark, it tends to be, kind of more of this like elongated shape. So, really, really awesome image of that species. So, let's see if this article has anything else on the Iceland catshark. It looks like it doesn't, so we'll kind of keep looking just to... Oh, thank you, Bibby. I appreciate that. I'm gonna keep looking. Looks like it's mentioned in notes, like in checklists. I think we cover that article. Ichthyophauna lists of the continental slope. These are more checklists of where you can find a shark, but it doesn't really show anything about biology. Unfortunately, it's a little known species. Deepwater sharks have the northern limits, distribution, diet, and trophic relations. Our cat shark should be in here. I am kind of curious about this article, so here we go. This is by John Solmundson, Clara B. Jacobsdottir, and Hildur Petrosdottir. I apologize if I messed that up, but deepwater sharks have the northern limits, distribution, diet, and trophic relations. Deepwater areas and continental slope regions south and west off Iceland are characterized by a relatively high species diversity. Whoop. Sorry. What happened? Make this smaller. There you go. Sorry about that. Relatively high species diversity and abundance of sharks that likely play a critical ecological role within this ecosystem. Academic site won't open on my phone, but my phone is old. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Bibia. If you, I'll see if I could. If you type in the article title, you might be able to get it. Like if you use your phone's search system, like just like Google or something, or like any kind of search engine. If you type in this article name, you might be able to get it through a different avenue. So, there we go. Sorry about that. Deepwater areas and continental slope regions south and west of Iceland are characterized by relatively high species diversity and abundance of sharks that likely play a critical ecological role within this ecosystem. The study investigates trophic ecology of the sharks, employing stomach content analysis and stable isotope analysis of nitrogen and carbon. In a standardized groundfish survey in Icelandic waters spanning 28 years, sharks were exclusively caught south of the Greenland-Iceland Ridge and west of the Iceland-Faroe Ridge, likely due to significantly lower seawater temperatures prevailing north of the ridges. The sharks exhibited a diverse diet, primarily encompassing secondary and tertiary consumers, placing them within the lower spectrum of the fourth trophic level, with estimated trophic levels ranging from 4.1 to 4.5, depending on the species or method employed. Three distinct feeding categories emerged. The first characterized by a main predation on various fish species, the second involving a specialized predation on mesopelagic fish, and the third strategy encompassing a significant feeding on crustaceans. Resource partitioning was evident through low to medium diet overlap indices among some of the shark species. Ontogenetic changes were observed in two of the most abundant and data-rich species, namely the black dogfish and the great lantern shark. As these sharks increase in size, there's a dietary shift from crustaceans to fish, reflected in higher trophic levels based on delta nitrogen values. Given the scarcity of sharks and stomachs of demersal fish within a study area, coupled with low fishing pressure of sharks off Iceland, it is plausible that their abundance is currently regulated primarily by bottom-up processes or environmental factors. So I'm assuming that means upwelling a little bit, but this is a really cool study because this might actually map out the trophic level. This might be a trophic study where you can kind of assign each animal a score. So the higher the score is, like the higher in the food chain it is, which is really interesting. So the sharks that they have in Iceland right here, the black dogfish, the great lantern shark, the velvet-bellied lantern shark, the Iceland catshark, there he is, the pale catshark, the mouse catshark, the bird-beak dogfish, the leaf-scale gulper shark, the long-nosed velvet dogfish, the Portuguese dogfish, and the Greenland shark. So I'm going to predict the Greenland shark is the top predator in this environment. But let's see if they map it out. I hope they do, because that would be really cool. Depth range for the Iceland catshark, 295 to 1359 meters. So, twilight zone to midnight zone. I want to see who the deepest is in Iceland. It looks like it's the mouse catshark. Or I'm sorry, no, the great lantern shark is the deepest in Iceland. So. Okay. Wow. Okay, so this is really cool. So this is showing the diet of all the sharks. So the Iceland catshark is over here, where it looks like the Iceland catshark eats myctophids, which are lanternfish, or other fish. Those are the two big categories. It sometimes eats shrimps, it sometimes eats euphausids, and it sometimes eats other things. What is this? Shrimps or other fish? I'm not sure the difference. Oh, in south. Okay, so southeast, that's its diet. In southwest, it eats primarily shrimp and then other fish. So that's actually really cool. So the Iceland catshark primarily in the southwest region. Okay, so in the southwest part of Iceland, it looks like the Iceland catshark primarily dominantly eats shrimp, which is categorized as red in this column. But in the southeast region, it eats a mix of lanternfish. Myctophids are lanternfish. Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure they're Myctophidae. Yeah, lanternfish. There you go. So this is a favorite snack. Oh, sorry. Where is that? A favorite snack of Iceland catshark is these lanternfish, but then also shrimp. So, let's see. So really cool. They're kind of modeling everything. Diet overlap. I really would love to see trophic level. Okay, there we go. So, interesting. Okay, so this is a little different. This is modeling trophic levels, but it's modeling trophic levels for other sharks. So the highest trophic level is the pearl side, and I'm not sure what that is. Interesting. Black dogfish is really high. Great lantern shark is really high. It's not saying anything about the Iceland catshark, so I want to keep looking. I really would love to see the Iceland Catshark is in this. I guess I could use this search feature. Okay. Iceland Catshark. 25 most important prey taxa ordered by number of prey. So, shrimp is the most important for the Iceland Catshark. Other fish, are important as well. Lanternfish are a big deal. And not much else, actually. So, this is really interesting. So, in the weird way, kind of wrapping it all together, yeah, the pearl side looks like a deep sea species, big eyes. Yes, absolutely, Bibia. Great observation, because this is definitely I've never heard of a pearl side fish, so it's definitely a deep water animal. So, but wrapping it all together, we said at the beginning of the stream that it is interesting that the Iceland catshark doesn't, or the teeth, don't show like crunching teeth, like mollusk teeth. They show like fish-eating teeth, and that we saw that other demon catsharks were swimming in the mid-water column. So it's probably going to be encountering animals that float in the mid-water, which are going to be shrimp, or fishes, I should say. I said fishes at the top of the stream, but shrimp also float mid-water as well. And it's actually really cool to see scientifically in the study, okay, this animal, this Iceland catshark, does eat shrimp, does eat other fish. You don't see really like bottom-dwelling crustaceans or mollusks here. You do see some crustaceans, but that's not the dominant part of the diet. It is shrimp and fish, which can both be found in mid-water. So it's really cool to kind of see this extra layer of like, okay, this shark swims in the water column in the dark and the cold, and is going after lanternfish, other kinds of fish, and shrimp. So even though we don't know much about its biology, it's actually really cool to see that, that's what this animal hunts. And it's actually really cool to get a better image of, the deep water world that it lives in, and the kinds of animals it shares its home with, and the fact that it is, well, not this species, I brought this one up for fun, but the fact that, it is a, predator of this ecosystem that is cruising through the mid-water column, playing a really interesting role in ecology and hanging out with these other sharks. So it's actually really cool to kind of, through different pieces, understand what the Iceland catshark is ecologically, and what it likes, like what kind of niche it occupies in the deep sea. So, yeah. It's almost 11, so I think we'll have to wrap up in a little bit. But guys, thank you so much for watching. This was a really fun stream to kind of like float into deep water environment and see all these different animals and see like what they look like and what they are. Really appreciate the love that Apristurus, cool name too. Yep. So those lizardfish are really, really creepy. They used to freak me out when I used to kind of like handle them in the fish collection. So there's a lot of fish that I love, and there's really not a lot that freak me out, but I would say those lizardfish are definitely freaky. So, but yeah, I really loved learning more about demon catsharks and the Iceland catshark in particular, and it's really cool again just to take a peek at the deep water world and to see all of these animals. So I'm really glad we got to take some time. Is it preying on the nightly migration? Great question, Howard. So I suspect that's an excellent question. I suspect that this shark probably doesn't do the migration like the other sharks do, because Iceland Redless mentioned that conservation-wise, it really... Well, actually, no. You know what? Sorry, I'm about to contradict myself. Because it did say that fishermen do catch this in bycatch. So maybe it does. You know what, Howard? That's a great question, because it's like, I was about to say fishermen don't catch this, but the truth is they do, they just throw it back, which is great. I'm really grateful that they throw it back. And the other thing, too, is they go after lanternfish, and lanternfish are like the most famous fish that goes up, that does the deal migration, that actually comes up to surface waters at night, and drives predators coming after. So that is a really great question. So it might be right.
I don't know. That's a really excellent question. So maybe I'm going to say maybe. I don't really know because I was about to say
it probably doesn't. But because it eats lanternfish, maybe it does, actually. So that's a great question for a research project. So for future scientists who may want to study sharks, I just saw that comment, Bibia, deep sea lizard. For future scientists who may want to study sharks, that's a really great hypothesis to kind of investigate. So does this particular species, the Iceland Catshark, undertake deal migrations? So very, very cool. Might catch species on the way from the deep to surface and back. Yes, Bibia, that's a great point as well. It might be snapping up those fishes that are making a lot of noise. So, as fish come down from the migration, all sharks have the pressure sensing organs, the ampulla, or sorry, not ampullae, the lateral line detecting changes in water pressure. So as those fish come down from the surface, might kind of come into the shark's perception, and maybe the shark could get to meet all of that. So the thing I'm really excited about is that we determined that it is a water column feeder. It is a shark that is swimming through the water column and snapping up fish. It may spend some time on the bottom, but it is a shark that is not a specialist that is going after mollusks or clams or anything. It is actually going after fish or shrimp in the water. So, but yeah, I'm gonna exit with. I'm gonna slow this down so that we can see this in all of its glory. But I'm gonna exit with some footage of deep water cat sharks. That there we go. So, again, thank you guys so much for watching. And next week is going to be really cool with the gray reef shark. It's kind of cracks me up that we haven't done it yet because it is one of the most famous shark species. It's actually one that's featured on a lot of nature specials quite a lot. And it's actually featured in a lot of famous ocean documentaries quite a bit too. It's just a very popular species in the Indo-Pacific. The Indo-Pacific, it's just a really, really big species there. So it kind of cracks me up if we haven't done it, but I'm really, really excited to cover that next week. So we'll go back up from the depths into the tropical shallows, plenty of footage galore for the gray reef shark, and it's going to be a really cool one to do. So, thank you, Bibia. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your commentary. Really, really appreciate you being here and taking the time. And thank you for advocating for the channel, too. That means a lot to me, so thank you. And Howard, thank you as always. I really, really appreciate your art and what you contribute. It's super, super cool to see what you do as far as your artwork. And we value it every time, so thank you so much for sharing that. So I hope you both have a great rest of your week, and I'm excited for the gray reef shark next week. So, until then, have a great one, take care, and I will see you next week for the gray reef shark. So, cheers guys, see you later, bye.